Young boy came back like they left him for dead. Cool and rollin', I so sure they give me head.
Young boy is a rollin', yeah.
Sure they don't love me, you know I'ma treat her bad. I'm real right, hold your 6 tight, get your click knock with this cash. These niggas with me, 4K try they bust your ass.
Reaction video. Golly, I'm telling y'all, yesterday I was so busy. And I was so stuck in family stuff that I had to not make a video yesterday because I wouldn't have been able to focus on it. So, can you shut up? I decided to not make a video yesterday and just wait till today so I could know that I'll be actually putting out something good and not rushing something for y'all, because I don't want to just put out some mediocre stuff. So obviously y'all see we about to react to top 10 scariest kidnapping stories, and I honestly don't know if they're the top 10 scariest because I'm pretty sure everybody doesn't know about everybody's kidnapping story, but still. And also, just in case y'all was wondering what I was looking at, that is my TV I'm looking up at, and my game system's connected to it and it's making noises, and I don't need to make noises. But we gonna keep pushing, we ain't gonna worry about that. We gonna get this video started and we gonna see what they got going on here.
Kidnapping is scary. It's that simple. It's something everyone fears in one way or another, and for good reason, obviously. Some kidnappers are mentally unstable, others have sadistic minds, some could be family members, and others might be complete strangers who are looking for a large ransom for the victim's safe return. I found a number of threads on Reddit where people discuss their own personal experiences with kidnapping. They're shocking, they're often disturbing, but their stories are definitely worth hearing. My name is Danny Berg, and this is the top 10 scary kidnapping stories. Starting off at number 10 now, we have the loan sharks. This one is just crazy right off the bat. It sounds like something straight out of a movie. I feel so bad for the family involved. Reddit user Rin Takahashi said, "This happened to me when I was a kid. My parents were involved with the loan sharks in the area, and I was kept as insurance that they'll pay the money they owe. They picked me up from our front yard. At the time, I didn't know I was kidnapped. I was only told that I went to stay with an uncle who had like 4 girlfriends and a lot of roommates who swore a lot. They didn't touch me. On the contrary, they kept me well fed, and some of them gave me a Barbie to keep me occupied while they did their business in the other rooms. I kept demanding where my mom..."
Can't see?
What's up with
There you go.
ads,
As you can
man?
clearly see, GlassesUSA.com has one of the best and most convenient ways to get glasses.
Buying
Buying glasses.
but still.
Mom is, and they kept assuring me that mommy will come and pick me up, but they just need to finish something first. In the end, I stayed with them for like a week before my dad had the money and got me out. I remember my mom and dad crying a lot as we went home. That was one of my earliest memories, and I can never forget it. Moving on now to number 9, we have the barn. This one comes from Reddit user The Dreamer. This is a strange one because the story is both resolved and also unresolved. You'll see what I mean. They said, "Not my own abduction, but my cousin was abducted. She lives in Mexico. One day, as she was walking home after being dropped off by the school bus, she was pulled into a van by men wearing bandanas over their faces. They tied her up and placed a hood over her head. They drove for a long time, according to her. She was taken to a barn and was left there. Inside the barn were other young women who were also tied up. She asked them what's going on and where are they, but the women wouldn't answer her. She somehow got loose from her rope and started to look for an escape. She found a window and saw that the sun was setting. She broke the window with a chair. She urged the other girls to come with her, but they were too scared to leave. My cousin left them and she ran non-stop to the nearest town. She stayed off the roads in case they were looking for her. Luckily, she found a phone in the town and called her family. She's safe now, but she could never remember where the location of the barn was. She still feels pretty guilty about it all." Next up at the number 8 spot now, we have someone to talk to. Kidnapping is, by its very definition, a bad thing to do, obviously. But with this next...
Based off the last one, like, I don't know if it was 100% true. I don't know if it was true at all, but at the same time, I give her props. I'm guessing it was a female because they only capture women, I guess. I give her props because she decided to break out like that night. Like, she wasn't trying to stay there and she broke a window. Usually folks don't be like, they usually don't break out. They usually just sit there and like wait it out, and that's like, I don't get that. But I mean, this is a long video, so I'm gonna let it go.
Next story, it seems like the victim may have seen past that for a moment and actually shown more empathy than most people ever could. Reddit user I Gotta Share said, I got pushed into a car in London and held for 14 hours in a car that had been stripped of much of its internal paneling with a door that could only be opened from outside. I don't really know what his intentions were, but he was going through a pretty serious crisis. He told me how his wife had left him after revealing how neither of his 2 children were actually his. He was unemployed and evidently addicted to crack cocaine. For 14 hours, he shared many of his fears and problems along with a desire to end it. As the time passed, I became a little impatient as I had a plane to catch, but soon abandoned such hope after he started shouting and stabbing the dashboard with a 10-inch screwdriver because I wasn't listening. Through all of this, I recognized a man at the end of his rope that needed someone to talk to. Although terrified at some points, I calmed myself by believing that I could get through it if I could keep him calm and see me as a friend, albeit one that needed to go home. Eventually the sun rose, the drugs ran out and wore off, and he had shared all that he could. I encouraged him to speak with his family and tried to seek legal advice. I gave him my email address and he opened the door and I found my way to the tube station. I don't know how things turned out for him, he never contacted me. Moving on to number 7 now, we have The Attempt. As you can probably tell from the title I gave this story, it was just an attempt, but it's a really strange one that I just really wanted to include on this list. I'm interested to hear your theories about it. Reddit user HDSLVO said, when I was 12 years old, I sat next to a woman on a plane to Las Vegas. When my mother fell asleep on the plane, a lady in her mid-30s started talking to me. She was saying things like, your parents are con artists, and I have a mansion you can come live in, and I will give you lots of money if you leave your parents and come live with me. All things along those lines. After the plane
I saw the countdown coming. I'm just like, dang, y'all just can't let me be great. Come on now.
landed and everyone was walking to get off the plane, the lady grabbed my wrist and pulled and began ushering me in front of her. My mom lost her mind and caused a huge scene. I am not sure how the conversation went among everyone. I was very distraught, but they made me wait on the plane while police escorted the lady off the plane to question her elsewhere. To this day, I cannot believe that she attempted to do this while my parents were right there and on a plane, no less. I will never know the lady's true intentions, but the older I get, the more sinister the situation becomes in my head. At the number 6 spot now, we have Levelheaded. Now I'm sure that staying calm during a kidnapping situation is the best way to handle it, but that is obviously easier said than done. This Reddit user managed it though. They said, last summer I went to Walmart around 1 AM on a Sunday night. I worked night shift, so I was fairly comfortable, but still aware of my surroundings. I bought an HDMI cable and a bag of chips and was walking out to my car when another car pulled up alongside mine. When the guy got out, I just assumed he was going into the store. I unlocked my car and he came around the side. Now at this point, I was a little anxious, but just thought he was going to ask for money or a cigarette. Then I saw his gun. He told me not to say anything and to get in the backseat of his car. He said if I did what he said, he wouldn't hurt me. I got in his car and he gave the gun to a kid, probably around 13 or so, in the passenger seat. The kid held the gun on me while the man took my wallet, my phone and keys. They then drove us to an ATM and withdrew all the money from my bank account, only about $200 because I was a broke college kid. They kept talking about whether or not they should kill me or let me go. I convinced them to drop me off as long as I promised to not say anything to the cops. They kept my phone but gave me my wallet and keys back and dropped me off in the ghetto. I walked to a gas station and the cashier called the cops for me. I think they had a hard time believing me because I seemed so calm, but it really was the worst night of my life. Moving on to number 5 now, we have the brave escape.
The person who, I wonder how old the person who got out the car to confront this person, whose story that was for, actually like, I want to know how old this person was, because it seems like those are two young folks. Because they said the person in the passenger seat was like 13 or 14, which means most 13 or 14 year olds aren't willing to shoot somebody. Like, come on now. Like, that's not normal. And if they are, they just about that life. Like, come on now. Some of this just don't sound right. And then they just letting folks go. I've seen, like, this like the third story where somebody they just let them go.
escape. This one comes from Reddit user Polly Sockham, who showed great courage in a very terrifying situation. They said, I was 24 and coming home around 3 a.m. one night from being the designated driver. I parked outside my apartment and a man with a gun approaches me as I'm getting out of the car. He forces me back in and yells at me to climb over into the passenger seat. I'm a blubbering mess at this point and just know that I am going to die. He drives me to an ATM and wants me to get him some cash. I had $4 in my bank account, so he was pretty annoyed. He starts driving around and I start trying to figure out how to get myself out of the situation. I turn in my seat towards him and start trying to talk to him, even touching him on the arm so he might start seeing me as another human. While I am doing this, I reach up behind and unlock the door. Eventually, he comes to stop at a red light. I notice a car has pulled up behind us and I throw open the door and jump out. He grabs me and my clothes rip, but I get out. He takes off and the people in the car behind me call the cops. A couple of months later, I have to go to the police station to pick him out of a lineup. I meet 2 other women he did this to and realize I was extremely lucky compared to what they went through. Another year later and I go to trial since my incident had the most evidence. He gets 99 years in prison and won't be eligible for parole until he's 64. Next up at number 4 now we have the Dropoff. Many of the kidnappings we've talked about can be for personal or abuse reasons, but for some criminals, kidnapping really is a simple business. All they want is ransom money. That's what happened to one Reddit user who said, I come from a rich family and was kidnapped while I was fixing my motocross bike in my garage. My garage, let that sink in. Pretty sure it was an inside job because the 2 armed guards at the gate had to suddenly go to the toilet and forgot to lock the auto gate system. But anyway, the kidnappers were actually pretty nice to me and didn't really hurt me other than put a bag over my head and handcuff me. They kept me fed and I had plenty of water. I was with them for a total of 5 days while my parents got together the ransom. I'm not kidding, it was like the movies in terms of the actual drop-off. And that was the end of that. I got home safe and sound with no injuries. They were never caught, and I suspect they were part of a crime ring as they were very professional in terms of what they did and how they did it. Moving on to number 3 now, we have...
It's crazy because there are a lot of people who really are a part of organizations who really do stuff like that, and they so professional, like it's their craft. Get off of my screen, bro. That's the third ad, bro. If I remember correctly, that's the third ad this whole video.
Have different states. Now coming from the UK, I always find it quite interesting that the US has vastly different laws sometimes from state to state, and that actually plays a key part in this story. Reddit user Smile Now Girl said, my biological mother kidnapped me from my adopted mother when I was 11 and my sister was 12. She had my uncle come to our door and pretend he had a surprise for us in the car. Turns out it was my mother and her abusive boyfriend. I tried to run, but my uncle grabbed me and stuffed me in the back seat along with my sister. We hid out at his place for a while and then drove to Florida from Louisiana. Now because of differing laws between states, I ended up staying with my alcoholic mother until I graduated high school and got into college. I told her to never contact me again once I was safely away in another city. She still has no idea what she's done wrong. Now the story doesn't quite end there though, guys. Another Redditor asked how were they not sent back to their adoptive mother, to which they replied, I'm back in contact with my adoptive mother now, and she explained it pretty badly but said that she hadn't officially adopted us in the first place and only had some kind of soft custody. This would have held up in California where we were born, but apparently not in Louisiana or Florida. Moving on to number 2 now, we have Swat. This Redditor said, I was 9 when this happened. My brother was getting drunk with some friends and some sketchy characters started to show up at the party. I was in my room when a dude smashed the door and dragged me to his car. My brother, drunk and high, tried to stop him. My brother got shot by a 38 and I was kidnapped. The guy drugged me and took me to a warehouse where his buddies were. They kept me there for a few days when SWAT suddenly burst through the skylight and windows. It turns out there were about 20 kids there and they were being sold. The SWAT got a tip off from my brother's friend who trailed the dude who took me. And finally at number 1 now, guys, we have the turnaround. I guess after hearing all of these pretty nasty kidnapping stories, I bet you guys would like to finish with one where the kidnapper gets what they deserve. Well, this story from Reddit user Kronos Horse is the perfect one, I think, for that. They said, wow, okay, here's what happened to me. I was fixing a friend's computer late night after work and I finished, so I went to the gas station on my way home. After filling up, this guy just jumps in my car. He tells me to drive, so I do. I drove towards a police station thinking it will be safer if I could get close to it. So while I'm driving, I notice that he only had a percussion screwdriver, like the one you might fix your glasses with. So I pull over, get out of my car, and pull his ass out of my car. He gets up and throws a punch. I grab his wrist, I kick the ball of his knee, and put my knee in his sternum. I got him up once more and yell, "If you get up before the cops get here, I'll f***ing kill you." I pulled my phone and called the cops. He lay there cradling his arm until the cops got there. The cops couldn't believe the story, and as it turned out, he was transported to the hospital because I broke his arm and xiphoid in the process. He then went to jail for kidnapping and attempted robbery. And there we go, guys, a bit of a long video there for you today, but I think those stories deserved a little bit more time than normal. Which one impacted you the most? I'm interested to continue the discussion in the comment section below. Thanks as always for watching, guys. My name is Danny Burke, and I will see you all in the next one.
We're just gonna stop it right there. I don't want to see that last ad. Don't put that in my video. What? I know I'm not the only one who think this is bullshit. I ain't gonna lie. That last one especially, really? He hopped in your car, told you to drive. You realize he had a percussion screwdriver. So I'm guessing that's like a drill type shit. So you get out the car, go around the car, open the door, pull his ass out, y'all fight. Like, really? People amaze me, man. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't wanna, nah. I don't know what to say about that. I don't even know if I believe half of it. I ain't gonna lie to you. Cause I'm not one to get convinced off of just what I'm hearing. I need to actually like see the evidence that this stuff actually happened. At the same time, it might have happened, it might have not, but I don't know how I feel. I feel like I wasted a video. I ain't gonna cap. Forget it. Either way, let's get it. I'm gonna let y'all go, you know. It's been good. It's your boy Hoodie J. You know, like, comment, share, and subscribe. We on the way up. Even though we all self-quarantine, practice social distancing, all of that. Because I'm trying to get out the house. I need everybody to cooperate so we can get out of this house. And, you know, because then that's why I'm going to have more fun videos. Like, I'm going to still do reactions, but I'm going to do, like, more challenges and more collabs and all that stuff when I can get out of my house without everybody being scared of Corona. So, in the meantime, as I said already, like, share, and subscribe. Y'all have fun. Y'all chill. Y'all stay safe. Y'all stay clean. All of that. It's your boy Hoodie J. And it's been good. We out, man.